It's time for another video with the Mercedes EQE SUV 4MATIC 500. This time it's not a general review, it's time for some more detailed testing, winter testing, 0 degrees outside. It's time for range, consumption, acceleration, noise and charging. So very important aspects if you are on the market looking for a EV. This is a mid-size SUV measuring 4.85 meters in total length, has a wheelbase of just over 3 meters and weighs 2.4 tons. Running on big AMG wheels, 22-inch with low-profile tires from Goodyear, 265, 35 all around, Nordic friction studless tires. The WLTP range of this car is 460 kilometers with this setup. You're losing a lot of range due to the big rims, and the battery pack has a net capacity of 90.6 kilowatt hours and a gross capacity of 96 kilowatt hours. It should be able to make 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.9 seconds and has a top speed of 210 kilometers per hour. When it comes to charging, top speed 170 kilowatts, DC charging, home charging, extra equipped with a 22 kilowatt hours pack on 3 phases. Standard is 11. To achieve a good range and high efficiency, the outer design, the exterior design is really round and air-shaped, almost like a soap with a drag coefficient of 0.25. So fairly low drag coefficient for being a SUV. But will that be enough to achieve the 460 kilometers of WLTP range? Let's start with the range and consumption test. So well on the inside, let me explain the concepts of this range test. The range test cycle is 80 kilometers long. I always drive the same stretch of roads and the speed limits are set between 50 all the way up to 110 kilometers per hour. Currently 110. So the average speed is 93 kilometers per hour and I stick to certain rules. Rule number 1, I keep the AC to automatic and 20 degrees. Also activated eco mode. Rule number 2, I always stick to the speed limits. Very important to be able to create a consistent and comparable result with all the other tests I do. And the last rule is activating eco mode. So eco mode is active, including eco for the AC. So that's the main rules. Current consumption after have been driving 15 kilometers is 27.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So still very high, but this is the first quick stretch of 110 kilometers per hour. After this, the speeds will get a bit lower and also the consumption. Let's see about that. So while driving on eco mode, it's really frustrating if you want to drive over speed limits that's 100 kilometers per hour, because it's really needs to be forced down. So you need to press the accelerator really hard to be able to keep speeds and keep it hardly pressed, because it's some kind of added resistance to the accelerator when driving on eco mode. So it's not suitable for longer drives in higher speeds. So then you need to activate another drive mode or perhaps use the self-driving capabilities of the driver assist system, speed assist, for instance. And to the obligatory information, and that's about the speed warning assist system. The ISA system, regulated by EU, goes for all vehicles delivered as a 2024 model. It's a new software that warns you about speed limits. So for the moment it's 60 here, so if I drive 65, starts blinking and it starts warning me. Now it's 80. Let's pause 80 and see how it sounds. Let's drive it up to 84 now. At 84 it starts blinking. Let's keep it at 84 and see. Yeah, 84, 85 starts blinking. Will start beeping very soon. Yeah. Very annoying. As always, that goes for all manufacturers, all new cars. The good thing though, there is several ways of turning that off. So the first and most complicated way is to fiddle around deep down into the car settings in the menus. I will not recommend that one because there is two more easy ways of doing it. The second way is to swipe downwards from top of the screen, and then you have a big button called acoustic warnings. You just press that one and it deactivates the speed limit assist sounds. You still get the notifications on top of the screen in the instrument cluster, but you don't get that annoying disturbing sounds. There is another even more interesting way and easy way to do this, because this one is fairly easy, I must say. Most cars are a lot more complicated than this way, and this is the easiest way I have ever discovered on any car before. Very good job by Mercedes here. I guess there is a lot of German consumers whining about this, and they have listened. So what you do is that you press the mute button on top to the right on the steering wheel. You hold that button for 1.5 to 2 seconds, and it turns off the acoustic speed limit warnings. Very easy to operate, works flawless. If you press it very brief, you mute the media, the music you're playing, for instance. So to unmute the functionality, you hold it for 1.5 seconds again, it changes the same setting, and it activates the acoustic warnings again. If you ever want to do that, I'm not sure. It is a safety feature, but for me, it's more annoying than adding safety. It's adding annoyance instead of adding safety. I get the point with it, but for me it's enough having the information on the screen, not the acoustic warnings. So very neatly integrated, and the shortcut really changes it all, because this is something you need to do every time. Let's turn it off, it's too annoying. This is something you need to do every time you jump into the car. Every time you restart, jump in and drive, you need to turn that off if you don't like it. Halfway now, 40 kilometers put behind. Average consumption until now is 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers even. So it has been going down for a while now. I think that's a decent consumption given the conditions. Dry roads, 0 degrees Celsius outside. So this is a winter test, and the heat pump is of course working to keep the cabin warm enough. Just finalized the range and consumption test. The result, 25.2 kilowatt per 100 kilometers. That's a bit high. I mean, given the conditions, it's fairly cold outside, around 0 degrees, but still kind of a high consumption. I was expecting it to score a bit lower, but I mean, the big and heavy wheels, so 22-inch and wide tires, 265s, really eats up a lot of range. And that translates into a full range for 100% of the battery pack of 359 kilometers, so almost 360 kilometers. That should be compared to the stated WLTP range of 460 kilometers. I think that's, let me check, 78% of the stated WLTP range. That could be expected as normal given the conditions. For the moment. So during summer you will for sure be able to achieve a range of over 400 kilometers. But keep in mind that this is with the smaller, older battery pack with a net capacity of 90.6 kilowatt hours. The new battery pack delivers 96 kilowatt hours, so almost 5.5 kilowatts in net difference, meaning that you should be able to achieve or add 20-25 kilometers to this current range. During summer, 400 kilometers will be no problem on long trips, maybe even more than that. Let's move on to the acceleration test. Getting ready for the first drag session. 90% state of charge, 89%. Outer temperature, 1.5 degrees minus. Let's go. Oh. It's a powerful car. You feel the horsepower.
0 to 60 miles per hour time 4.88 seconds. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time 5.18 seconds.
5.18. That's close to 4.9. That's the specified time. Dry roads outside. Dry roads, but still very cold, so not optimal conditions for doing a 0 to 100 test. But still, first attempt, it is green, close to the specified time. Let's do another one. Time for the second attempt. State of charge 88%. Same conditions. Go. Roaring sounds are active.
0 to 60 miles per hour time 4.86 seconds. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time 5.16 seconds.
5.16. So still a good result. Let's do a last attempt. State of charge 88%, same conditions. Let's go. Oh, roaring sounds, a bit scary.
0 to 60 miles per hour time 4.82 seconds. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time 5.11 seconds.
Okay, so 5.11 seconds seems like it's getting better for every time. That was a couple of 0 to 100 runs. Final best time 5.11 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, or 4.86 seconds, 0 to 60 miles per hour. That's 0.2 seconds from the specified time, 4.9 seconds from Mercedes. Still fairly close given the conditions and the tires. I mean, on warmer days with summer tires, 4.9 seconds will not be a problem to achieve. But I still think that the car behaved well, kept the grip good, and the anti-spin system seems to work really nice. Let's move on to the cabin noise test. And when it comes to cabin noise, I'm not boring you recording when I record the cabin noise. That's not fun to look at. But what I do is that I place a microphone at the head height of the passenger and test the car on the same stretch of roads in different speeds, 50, 70, 90 and 110 kilometers per hour. And this is the final result. So to put that into a perspective, I always try to compare it to other cars I have tested. It's very close to or on par with the Kia EV9 and the Neo EL7, two recently tested cars that are very silent. So this is a good result. Double pane windows all around, good insulation, so a silent and nice ride. Some other cars to compare it with is the Neo EL6. That car is a bit more noisy than this one. Another car to compare it with is the AMG-line. That car is a beast when it comes to cabin noise. Very silent, among the most silent cars I have ever tested. And that one actually beats the Mercedes EQE SUV. So that's all when it comes to cabin noise. Let's move on to the charging. So this time I wasn't able to charge the car during the day, so I did it during nighttime, and to spare you from bad video quality, I'm recording this the day after. I will try to summarize the charging as good as possible. One thing that's very important to mention is the preheating of the battery pack. The EQE SUV has a proper preheating for optimizing the charge curve, heating up the battery for achieving these 170 kilowatts of peak charge power. And the nice thing is that Mercedes has managed to implement such a good solution in the software that when you navigate to a charger, the preheating starts, but it also shows you the current amount of top speed that's possible to achieve due to the battery temperature. And that one actually climbs the more you preheat the battery pack. So I drove the car until it said full power or 170 kilowatts before going to a charger, drove it down to 10%, plugged it in. And that actually resulted in a good charge curve. So preheated, good condition battery pack gave me a top speed of 171 kilowatts at 32%. And it kept a good speed for a long time and started to taper around 40%, but the tapering is not that aggressive, so it's like kind of a linear tapering. As you see here on the total charge curve, around 50% it had a speed of 150 kilowatts, and at the end at 80%, 75 kilowatts. Total charge time 30.29 seconds. That should be compared to the specified time from 10 to 80% in 28 minutes. So not far away from Mercedes specified time, and could be considered as a good charge curve. Probably possible to achieve even better times in better weather conditions. But I still think this is according to spec and a good result. So we have been looking at charging, range and consumption, acceleration and noise in these winter conditions. What do you think about the result? Let me know in the comments below. So in total, this is a good package. I mean, with all the technology, the looks, the interior materials and quality, the ride comfort with the air suspension, really nice. The driving dynamics, the acceleration is brutal for being such a big and heavy car. It kicks out really fast and nice, fun to drive. The four-wheel steering really makes the car feel more nimble and easy to drive and park. So a great package. But I have two downsides. The two main downsides. The first one is the charging. I would expect some quicker charging. I mean, 10 to 80% in 30 minutes, that's not bad. But for this price point and for this quality of a car, a brand, it should be able to deliver more than that. I would expect at least charge speeds on 400 volt of 200 kilowatts. Maybe a car with this price point should be able to deliver a 800 volt system. I don't know. And the second downside is the price. I mean, as standard, it is not that expensive compared to the alternatives on the market. But as always, you need to add a lot of equipment to the car if you want a decent spec Mercedes EQE. And when you do that, the price point immediately runs away and gets really expensive. This specific car cost 1.4 million Swedish crowns, and that's 125,000 euros. That's a lot. I mean, you can buy a lot of different cars for that money. So I would expect at least quicker charging for that price point. I think that's all for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, subscribe, like and engage. And most importantly, stay electric. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.